1991, 2011, two completely different concepts now.
That's right, 20 years of development. You've got a cast magnesium gearbox in the order of 50 kilos, as opposed to a carbon composite gearbox in the order of about 30 kilos.
Well, as we know, in Montreal, Jenson Button had an oil leak in the front of the gearbox, and I was a bit critical about the length of time it took to get it repaired.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours and 45 minutes since they started working on that car, and I found it absolutely ridiculous that it's taken that amount of time. It's something that should be done in 30 minutes. Do you think that's correct? Did it take too long or not?
To be honest, it's the way the development's gone now. Everything is so tightly packaged. As you can see, this is not really a gearbox anymore. It's an aerodynamic chassis carrier. One of the visual things you see straight away is the length, and that's because this gearbox doesn't have any safety impact structures on it at all, whereas this one has a large rear impact structure all the way out to here. The gearbox starts from here and goes all the way out there to back underneath the rear wing, and that's because of safety. So this is basically a complete crash zone to enable the driver to go into a wall backwards and not hurt himself. Yes, the gearbox change times are long. They're over an hour now. And I do remember when they were 30, 35 minutes, even when I started in Formula One when I was working on one of your cars. We have to make sure things don't go wrong. So the oil leak we had in Montreal should never have happened in the first place. You've got a massive amount of different number of sensors. There was only two sensors on this for gearbox pressure and temperature. This one's got almost 30.
Obviously the whole car's got a lot of sensors, and do you think that technology has moved on and made the driver a little bit more redundant from the James Hunt days?
Yeah, definitely, because it means that the driver can't, I don't know, let's say make up stories. And they don't do it on purpose, but the driver tries to interpret what's going on around him. The way drivers are brought up now with Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button, their whole mentality is to use data.
Unbelievable amount of locking, front locking. I can't control it.
It's not they won't even try and go down the James Hunt route because they know it's all backed up by 25 engineers looking at every single thing that they've said. Formula One still has responsibility to make sure it's a driver's sport. It's a very high-tech sport, but the driver still has to remain a very big part of that.
So in 20 years' time I can come down here, me walking stick and say, Sam,
that's right.
What do you think of it now?
No, I'll be saying that to some young guy. Thanks
very much for your time, Sam.
Yeah,
It's been great.
All the best. Thanks, Gary.